And good morning. Welcome to NFL Week 6. George, how did you enjoy that Thursday night game this week?
That game was absolutely amazing. And by the way, I love the absolute cold intro of not welcoming everybody to join us. You know, you're trying
No,
to
we
play it.
do that. We do that in a minute when the followers start looking. It's still zero watching. We do that. I do that in a minute. I know what. Listen, I've been doing this long enough. I can look at the count. People
You've been
don't know we're on yet.
you've been recording long enough. I don't know about actually putting out shows long enough though. Those are two totally different subjects. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we can talk about that later. Look, okay, so now see, George, look up in the corner now. We've got somebody watching. So what I can do is, guys, welcome to your Blitz on a Sunday morning, week 6. George has already given me crap. This is it's just him and I at the moment, but the Toilets Title crew has been alerted, and I'm sure we'll get somebody to jump on here shortly besides just us. But
And if not, we'll just roll with it, right?
yeah,
Like we got this. But no, to answer the question, how I
yes.
enjoyed Thursday night game. I enjoyed this Thursday night game a lot more than last Thursday night's game. It was so much better because I didn't face anybody in the last Thursday night's game, but the Thursday night that just passed, like in our home league, I had a guy start 2 players in that game, and he only scored a total of 11 points.
No, that's
So
a good thing. That's a good
I'm
thing.
all about that. I'm in a good mood. It was fantastic.
I jumped into another league which I shouldn't have done, but it was a work league where somebody had abandoned a team. It's not a lot of effort. It's not worth any money. So luckily I played against Carson Wentz this week, and it's a good week introduction to that league. So I'm pretty excited about that too.
So, so I want to throw this out there right now. Like, we obviously we don't have any questions yet. We'll get to those, but I just got a tweet here from Adam Schefter. Right, they're talking about Christian McCaffrey. As you know, there's trade rumors swirled all around him. Here is the upcoming free agent class of running backs this year: Saquon Barkley, Damian Harris, Kareem Hunt, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery, Miles Sanders, Tony Pollard, Devil Singletary. And by the way, yes, I went back to Devil with him because he's playing worthy of it.
Well. Yep.
Jamal Williams and Rashard Penny. So let me ask you this: knowing those are all potential free agents, would you actually give up a lot for Christian McCaffrey if you were an NFL team?
So a lot is you'd have to define a lot. Would I give something up if I knew I could get McCaffrey under contract without having to go break the bank? The only guy I really care about on that list, if I'm hyper like a team that's super competitive, is probably Saquon Barkley, and the way he's playing, I don't see the Giants letting him walk away. Um, so if define a lot, but we talked about this offline couple, like when the first rumor started swirling around Buffalo. I don't think either one of us think Buffalo for fantasy um is a great output. It's good for the NFL. It's good for the Buffalo team. You know what I mean? It's good for the Bills. But from fantasy perspective, like they don't need a Christian McCaffrey, so they won't use him like he's being used in, or like previously been used in Carolina. He won't get the volume. Now the opportunities are better, more opportunities to score. So I like that. But you and I talked. I think best case for fantasy football would be something like San Francisco. I think that would be a smash for both the San Francisco team and for fantasy. Now, Miami is interesting only because when they get Tua back, when they get healthy, and I'm alone now, when they get Tua back and when they get healthy, I think it'll be big. It would be big if they could get a decent running back. Mostert's a good running back, but he's older and also gets hurt. So with that, George just dropped probably his famous internet. It gives me time to do some housekeeping. So we want you on Toilets and Titles for YouTube. Go ring the bell. Go give us a follow. Give us a subscribe. We're looking to get to 1,000 and over. We're creeping up there, and it's going to be awesome when we finally do. We are go to our toiletstitles.com. At toiletstitles.com, you can check out awesome articles like from Chuck Steele, Plated. He talks about one NFL player a week in the as like a plate of food on that you're going to serve. And then also we have shows every day of the week. There's shows Monday with Monday night, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Like you've got DFS content, you've got just standard NFL content, you've got start sit content here on Sunday mornings. We have shows every day of the week, and we are kicking butt and helping you guys get to fantasy relevance. Now I've got Justin saying good morning, fellas. I guess I'm big enough for two people, but I feel bad that you called me a fellas. And so I know, Justin, you had some questions, so if you want to throw them our way, I'm hoping George is trying to get back in. And not yet. So with that, I'm going to tell you about the game that I really am looking forward to the most. And no, everybody's looking forward to the Bills Chiefs. I'm not going chalk, and I'm going to say Bills Chiefs. That's an obvious one. For fantasy, I'm really looking forward to the Vikings Dolphins game. If you have any Vikings players, the Dolphins defense is injured beyond belief. Their corners are out, safety's out. Their offensive line isn't looking great, but I do think both Waddle and Hill are both healthy today, so that's great news. And then on the other side, Justin Jefferson, Cook, they're going to eat. So that's the game I'm looking forward to, aside from the game that everybody loves, the Bills and the Chiefs. And Justin, if you would like to come on, George posted the link in the show, so if you'd like to come on, let's do that. And I'm going to start out with Trans-Siberian, and I want to say shout out to him. Glad to see you're safe for another week. Hey, look, George is back. Awesome. So I'm going to wait until George is back on the show before I answer this question, so we have more than one person. George, you ready? All right, bringing George back on.
Sorry about that. My dad called, and I hit the no button, and it disconnected. And then he called me again, so I had to actually answer because he doesn't normally call me unless it's important. So
doing these shows by yourself is not a whole lot of fun, man. All right. So we've got our first question, and our first question is, Justin, do you need me to come on? Justin, if you want to jump on, we will take you. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, George posted the link, so you're good if you want to click in. So Trans-Siberian, hi boys, and Justin. Oh wow, that's a knock on Justin. Justin, you have to come on now.
Well, he knows we're boys. He didn't want to assume Justin's gender.
There you go. That's a good call. Good call. Yeah. Glad to see you. We're glad to see you. Wide receiver, Jacoby Myers or Rondell Moore. Thanks for the insight, and shout out to Wellington, Florida.
Shout out to Wellington, Florida. For me here, I'm actually going Jacoby Myers. The Patriots, let me see who they're playing again. I forget.
They are playing. God, I knew we talked the Browns.
We talked about knowing the whole schedule, and then somebody's going to ask us a question.
Yeah, it's the Browns.
They're playing the Browns.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going Jacoby Myers. The Browns defense has not been great as of late. Their cornerbacks are not exactly the best of the bunch here. I like Rondell Moore. Listen, they're playing against Seattle. Seattle is a bad defense as well, but I think Jacoby Myers is going to get the more targets again. Like, he's averaging 8.5 targets a game when he plays. Give me those targets. Give me Jacoby Myers here.
Does standard change your opinion? Because it does for me here, and I'm glad Justin is getting ready to pop on because he can break this tie. For me, standard absolutely breaks this opinion. If it was PPR, it would be easy Jacoby Myers for me. In standard, Rondell Moore did get 7 targets last week. He has been trending up. He's getting all the Dortch targets from earlier in the season. Dortch, right. And I think Moore is poised for a big game with some touchdown upside. So I'm leaning more here in a standard where I would pick Myers in a PPR. And there's Justin. That's good looking right there. He's changing it over to the Colts in the background. I'll wait till he gives me a thumbs up, and I'll bring him in, and we'll ask him the question. I don't even know if he can hear me.
He could probably hear you, and if not, we could talk bad about him. We should honestly ask him how his toe is doing, because he said we didn't care.
Did he say that?
No, but I'm assuming he.
This is there we go. There he is.
Hey,
dying and fantastic.
what's that?
There you are. Nothing. You're good. Hey,
Yeah,
so
I saw that, the Trans-Siberian was in with the question, so I had to hop in because he's our boy. So, and also his name always reminds me of an orchestra, the Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
I think that's probably what he went.
Yeah, I think it has nothing to do with him living in a dangerous area.
No, not at all. All right, so his question is: in a standard league, Jacoby Myers or Rondell Moore?
Standard. I really like Rondell Moore, but Myers might have the opportunity today. I wasn't really super prepared, so I don't have the schedules pulled up, but I do know that Moore has a great matchup this week, and always tie goes to the non-Patriot. So Rondell Moore.
So I do want to point out that last week against the Lions, Jacoby Myers did finish with 111 yards and a touchdown. He's got consecutive games now with at least 8 targets, 7 catches, which I understand is standard, but 95 yards in each of the last 2 games. So that's 9.5 points in standard. I'm not sure Rondell Moore.
Talking Jacoby Myers?
Yes.
Yeah. And with Mac Jones potentially coming back, we don't think that changes back. He doesn't
revert.
George, you did the thing where if somebody was talking, we didn't hear you. So if you wanted to rebut that, go ahead.
No, I just said Mac Jones ain't playing this week.
Oh, he's definitely not? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that makes it tighter for sure. But the way I understand, as I was cutting onto my hardwire internet, I thought I overheard a tie. So I'm going to stick to my guns just to break the tie. I'm going with Moore. I don't know which one of you also went Moore. Okay, then definitely want to go Moore. That makes more sense. I'd rather agree with Jason.
Justin, how you been? Like, it's early on a Sunday morning. How you been, bud?
Hey, wonderful, excellent. So I do have questions ready for your wives. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, that has to do with another show that these fellas, these knuckleheads do, a break from the grind. So we're gonna potentially, hopefully, play a little newlywed game for their big 100th anniversary that I haven't heard much about. But I also haven't seen the previous episode dropped yet. Am I wrong? Am I missing it?
No. So here's what happened, and I was telling George before the show started, but we've got time, so why not hash it out now? Your audio is a quarter of George's and my audio. And
I don't know what that means.
So the volume on your audio from the 99th show is like literally a quarter of it, and it's all in one stream. So I literally have to go back through the whole show and boost your audio. I can't even it out for whatever reason. So like minute by minute, anytime you talk, I have to stop, boost your audio so it's even with ours, and then continue going. It doesn't help that George.
That also means I'm not getting invited back for number 100, right?
No, you should be back. I just have to make sure your level's the same as ours as we're going versus but it doesn't help that George is loud as all get out.
I mean, yeah. And I'm not even yelling. Like, I'm just naturally a loud person.
That's absolutely true. And then Justin's going to walk away and leave us with that faded cult symbol. Which
I'm
is fine.
here. Even if I do walk away, I can still hear you. I'm still getting set up. I wasn't preparing to come on. I saw just Jason and thought maybe you might need me.
Yeah, we ended up. So we had Mike, who had a work issue, and then Joe probably had another Pearl Jam concert. So
I seen somewhere that he had a work issue as well.
So and then George answered his phone, which knocked him off the internet because it's so bad there.
It wasn't answering the phone knocked me off. It was when my father called me, it knocked me off, and then I hit no, and then not to answer, and it still kicked me out. And then he called me back immediately a second time, so I figured it was kind of urgent.
Isn't that helpful though when they call back and then you're like, "Hey, what's going on?" And he's like, I'm heading to Wawa. You want a sandwich?"
that sounds very helpful, actually.
I mean, it's like, yes, I want a sandwich, but I don't know if that requires a double phone call.
So what he was calling about is one of the houses that we're in the middle of remodeling. Like there's been our crew and a separate crew there doing 2 different jobs. and right now there's an issue of a missing staple gun.
Oh.
And the guy can't find his staple gun, so he called up the homeowner accusing us of taking it, which is absolute bullshit. So
There's our one cuss, and it wasn't even football related. Go ahead.
and he called me and asked me about it, and I'm like, no, I told the guy I'd even help him look for it. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like he asked about it, we told him none of us touched it. We had of our own. God, we got like 6 of them. Why do we need theirs?
I used to deliver appliances to brand new apartment buildings, and I know this is absolutely great for a fantasy football show, but I had drills and batteries and all kinds of stuff. Like you would walk out, there'd be 17 crews on that job just doing different certain things. You'd walk out of a room and come back 5 minutes later and your bucket's gone.
So here's the thing that we do specifically is I've told our team at the end of every day, you clean up your mess, you take home your tools, and you bring them back the next day. You don't leave them there. Like this other crew, like they leave all their compressors outside. They leave their tools just laying all over the place. Like it's no wonder why something is missing. Like they just leave everywhere. You notice I didn't curse that time. I got the one S word in, and then I bleeped myself.
All right. Well, contractor talk. We'll move contractor talk to tonight. Maybe we'll do a special bonus blitz of contractor talk. But let's jump in real quick. I do want to mention Steve Evans is doing it right. If you say I'm a T2T fanatic and you put your Twitter handle after that, you will be entered into a contest. Justin, do you have the gift? It's a gift card to Fanatics, right?
Fanatics.com. Yeah. So you go to Fanatics.com. And they sell authentic NFL merchandise. So hats, jerseys, you name it, shirts. You'll have $100 gift card for that. And then I believe, I don't remember the number, but John said that if we get a certain number, like 50 entries or 100 entries or something like that, then he will at 50. Then he'll add in another $50 gift card for like a second place drawing as well.
So go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say you can enter as many times as you want. Like Steve has entered almost every time we've had a live show. You just have to enter during a live show. So like right now, Trans-Siberian, if you're still watching, you type in, I'm a T2T fanatic, and in parentheses, give us your Twitter handle or some other form of social media. Some of you are Patreons. You can just tell us, hey, don't forget I'm a Patreon, whatever. Just a way for us to contact you so that we can send you your gift card. Or in your case, Trans-Siberian, maybe we can just send you the gift card code so we don't have to actually pay for the shipping halfway around the world. And you can buy yourself some nice apparel.
All right, so housekeeping out of the way, we got a question here, and then let's see, we've got Brandon Williams, Flex, Najee. Okay, Jessica Reed, you can't do that. Plus, you don't have a Twitter handle. I know you, but if you want to jump in, George, you can. Flex, Najee, Dobbs, or pick up Rondell. I'm sorry, Rondell Palmer?
Rondell or Joshua Palmer.
Josh Palmer. Pierce or Slayton or Traquan or Callaway with Olave out. And then he also says the Indianapolis running backs are available as well.
I don't know which running backs he's talking about. We really only have Deion Jackson or Philip Lindsay.
I'm sure those are the two he's talking about.
Yeah.
Since both their starters are out. Naheem Hines and Jonathan Taylor are out. So, I mean, I guess I probably just play this easy and pick between Najee and Dubs here. And I think I'm going to go Dubs against the Jets. Najee's playing against the Bucs, who aren't allowing anything to running backs right now in fantasy. You know, they're a little worse this year in the NFL, like statistically against the run. They're still not allowing touchdowns or a lot of catches to fantasy backs, and Najee hasn't been good even when he's got an opportunity against good matchups. So for me, it's just going to be Dubs and hope that him and Rodgers connect. We'll go with Justin next since he jumped on so nicely.
So Najee is frustrating me with the performance, and he keeps losing touches to the backup. So I think the last I can't even remember the backup's name, but he had more touches than Najee did last week. I keep mentioning this. Rondell Moore has a nice matchup, and they've used him more and more the last 2 weeks. And I believe this is going to be another big week as far as targets go. I feel more secure that Rondell's going to get more targets, even though I feel more secure that Dub's going to do more with his targets. But also, yeah, that's a divisional matchup. They're going to want to air it out. I'm going to go with Rondell here. I say go pick up Rondell.
And then George.
Well, first off, you know who else is not allowing running backs to get a whole lot of yards? That Steelers offensive line. Like, they're just absolutely holding back and shutting down Najee Harris. It's just unbelievable to see it play out this way. Who would have ever thought that a bad offensive line is just going to crush Najee Harris? Like, everybody, basically. I like Rondell Moore here. I like Dobbs as well. But I think I'm going to go with you guys, and I'm going to go to Rondell Moore here. The matchup against Seattle, surprisingly, Seattle is actually pretty decent against wide receivers. They're the fourth best defense against opposing wide receivers, and I guess that's because you can run on them. Because why would you pass on them when you can run on them? But Rondell Moore is due for a good game. He had 7 catches for 68 yards last week. They're involving him in the run game. He had 2 rushes as well. Their run game is banged up in Arizona, so you expect maybe they'll use him a little bit more in the running game this week as well. Seattle's allowed 5 receivers to score at least 14 PPR points this season. I'm going to go with Rondell Moore here, but I like Dubs with the opportunity against the Jets as well. But I would go Rondell Moore.
All right. And Brandon, this is just a reminder, bud. Like, you can do the same thing. You can say I'm a T2T fanatic, put your Twitter handle in, and you can get right into the contest as well. Since you're watching and already posting, it just takes 2 seconds. Get you a chance at $100 Fanatics gift card. I do have one here for us. Of course, I closed the banners, and that's not helpful. There we go. Stafford versus Carolina, Jimmy G at Atlanta, Danny Dimes at Baltimore, and you're already starting Saquon. I'm going to leave Justin out of this one because he's the one that that needs the help here. Well, actually, what are you doing initially?
Well, as of right now, I have Stafford in there because I feel like there's got to be a week where they finally right the ship and McVay gets that going. But I'm still worried about Stafford's injury, so I'm still very concerned about this. And if I go Danny Dimes here, then which season long, I'm thinking more Jimmy G. But this week's matchup against Baltimore, Danny Dimes is available, so I could go pick up Daniel Jones. But in order to do that, I would probably have to drop Jimmy G. It is a 1 quarterback league. I'm just desperate and I need a win.
George, your thoughts here?
So I'm actually going to go with Danny Dimes here, and I know I'm making Joe from Joe Knows very, very proud with this selection. Jimmy G is just an average at best quarterback. His ceiling is extremely limited. I've seen absolutely nothing from Stafford that makes me want to start him. I'm going to go with Danny Dimes. He's got the safe rushing floor. Going against Baltimore, you expect Baltimore to be able to put up points, thus making Danny Dimes have to put up points as well. And like I said, he's got that safe rushing floor, so I'm going to go with Danny Dimes here.
Is it 4 points per passing touchdown or 6? Do you know?
6.
So I'm going, and it's no help, but we can have Joe. Joe's already saying Danny Dimes. If it were me, it's actually me in our home league, George and my home league, and it's and I'm picking Jimmy G over Danny Dimes. Now I don't have Stafford, so but again, what George is saying, I haven't seen anything from Stafford that makes me think he's any better than the other 2 options at this point for fantasy. So I'm personally going with Jimmy Garoppolo. It's a juicy matchup against the Falcons, and I think he gets 2 touchdowns this week, and that's kind of all you can hope from any 3 of these guys.
So let me throw some stats for Danny Dimes for you. 3 quarterbacks in a row have ran for a touchdown against the Ravens. Danny Dimes is a running quarterback. Even with the injured ankle last week, he still ran for 37 yards and is averaging 61.3 yards per game on the ground. So nearly a full touchdown on the ground. He's also got 2 rushing touchdowns in his last 3 games.
Yeah, but they were both in the same game. So he got 2 rushing touchdowns once, and then the other 2 games he got none.
Okay. The Ravens are allowing 25.2 points per game to opposing quarterbacks so far this year. I mean, they are the worst defense in the NFL, both against the pass and against the run. So I would go with Danny Dimes.
And then actually Joe is hedging here and he's saying I'd go JG. And I feel like that's just a reverse jinx, Justin, so that
thanks for not helping at all. We can move on.
Okay. I'm gonna jump over to Steve Evans, Uncle Steve, Tevin Coleman, Zay Jones, Darius Slayton, or Ingram. Okay, what is that? Keaton? Oh, whatever. Ingram, pick one. Yes, I know it's bottom of the barrel. Man, I think. Go ahead, George.
If Zay Jones plays, I'm playing. If Zay Jones does not play, I'm going to go with Tevin Coleman and hope he gets 5 to 8 touches against the Atlanta Falcons, and hopefully maybe one of those will be a touchdown.
Not Slayton with Danny Dimes and then them going up against the Ravens. Last week was a fluke.
I don't know if Darius Slayton's even healthy.
That's a good point. Justin.
Oh man, this is the bottom of the barrel.
It is.
I think I'm leaning towards Tevin Coleman here, and it's not pretty. That Packers run defense isn't bad, and he's. Oh wait a minute, they're not playing the Packers this week, are they?
They are not. You were talking about Tevin Coleman?
Yeah, who are they?
They're playing.
Yeah. Go with Tevin Coleman. You've got the revenge game too. Absolutely, Tevin Coleman.
So I'm with George on this one, and that tastes bad in my mouth. But I'm going to say Zay Jones if he's playing. I think he's got a great. So you're definitely picking up the bottom of the barrel here. So what you're looking for is not to get a 0. You're looking for a safe floor. I think Zay Jones is a safe floor play. Tevin Coleman. What you hope here is that the 49ers jump out to a big lead on the back of those 2 Jimmy G touchdowns I talked about. And then they can rest Jeff Wilson so they don't hurt him. He doesn't get hurt, and they put Tevin
Jeff
Coleman.
Wilson is already still kind of playing hurt as it is, though, and that's why Tevin Coleman got the extra time last week as well. So,
look, if you wanted to listen to Justin, you would have just called him. But from George and I, from George and I, Zay Jones. Brandon says he doesn't have any socials, but he is a T2T fanatic. So I feel like this counts, and we can probably get a hold of Brandon through YouTube.
Yeah, we'll put him down. We'll just put YouTube contact.
Yeah, and then we'll get a hold of him because Brandon is a weekly YouTube follower, and I feel like that should be an entry. Yep. Although, what are you doing with your life on a Monday night if you aren't forever scrolling Twitter? I don't know that world.
The overreaction Monday is a thing, which is glorious.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got Dustin Hetrich, Pitts, Boyd, Pickens, Melvin Gordon, Singletary. He says pick, and if it's just one, we also don't know if it's a PPR or not. So let's assume a half-point PPR until Dustin comes back and gives us and I'll put that back up there. And we'll go Justin first.
So Melvin Gordon is questionable, and they're talking like this might be decided tomorrow, whether or not he plays, and he's playing Monday night, so that makes this extremely difficult. Otherwise, it's kind of a no-brainer. Oh, he fixed it. Okay.
Yeah, it's pick 3. He didn't say whether it's a PPR or not.
It's PPR.
3.
PPR.
Okay. So I feel like Boyd has the chance for a big game here. Let's see. Pickens is big game potential, and then if you want to play it safe, I'm going Singletary. A-Rob just scares the shit out of me anymore, and then Pittman hasn't done much of nothing, or Pitts, hasn't done much of anything. So I'm gonna go with Boyd. Boyd Pickens, and then play it safe with Singletary, or get risky and play Gordon if you need to?
Yeah, I think I am saying Boyd, Pickens, and Gordon, and then I'm gonna look for a hedge on that bet. I'd like go see if anybody is available to play. So have Gordon in your flex spot, and then find a wide receiver or something so you don't get a zero. George?
Excuse me. So I'm not sitting Pitts. I understand he's been bad, right? Like I totally get that. I'm still throwing him out there because I'd rather have him on my roster and starting than have him have like 28 points on my bench. Like I didn't invest that high draft capital to sit him. Like he's going through a tough time right now. Atlanta's just not targeting him. I get that, but I'm still not going to go ahead and sit him. I'm still going to play him where I got him. I'm also rolling out Gordon. Even with the ankle, I expect him to play. The Clippers, wrong sport. The Chargers are absolutely dead last against running backs in the NFL. That is a very juicy matchup. His last game without Javonte Williams, he had 103 total yards. He had 15 carries and 3 catches. I'm expecting him to dominate the workload ahead of Mike Boone and Latavius Murray again this week. So I'm rolling out Gordon. And for my third one, in games that have been close, Devil Singletary has been absolutely fantastic. In games that have been blowouts, he's been terrible. So unless you're telling me that the Bills are going to blow out the Chiefs, which I don't even think the Bills are going to win this game. I think it's going to be a good game. It's my game of the week. But I think Singletary is going to be heavily involved in this game. I think it's going to be a close game. So I'm going to go with Singletary, Gordon, and Pitts.
All right.
And if Gordon is going to be a guy that you need to start, that you feel like you need that, because he's a definite double digits guy if he plays, definitely go out there and try to get Boone or Latavius Murray, just in case he can't go on Monday night and you're not just stuck without him. And don't forget too that Latavius Murray actually played with Broncos recently, so it's not like he's completely off the rails from understanding their system and their plays and everything. Like, just because he just joined the team a couple weeks ago, it's the running back position too. You find a hole and you hit it. So he should be good to go if he's called upon.
Yeah, I assume Murray is probably out there. Boone was one of the big waiver wire ads, so he likely isn't. Josh Kelly on the other side. Sorry, Justin.
Yeah, for sure.
Josh Kelly on the other side, if he's available, just to have a pivot option, because he's been spelling Eckler. Now he's been picked up in a lot of leagues too, so he may not be available. But just as a guy, wanted to go back to George's Pitts real quick. So I understand wanting to play him, but like outside of a 13-point game against, I believe, the Seahawks, he's finished with 4 points or less in every other game, and the 49ers are literally the second best against tight ends. So it makes it real tough, even if you're going, I've drafted the guy. At some point, sunk cost fallacy has to take over, and in a bad matchup, you sit a guy, I think. And that's why I went the way I went. All right.
I also want to point out with Gordon, this is going to be a revenge game for him because he spent the first part of his career in Los Angeles.
A very important one here. Justin's loudness woke this beautiful woman up from her beauty sleep. And listen, all I can say to that, Lori, is that you didn't need more. That's what Justin was saying. He's just calling you cute.
Not only that, it's not my fault. George talks loud, so I have to talk louder.
I'm being absolutely quiet when you're talking. You don't have to talk over. There's nobody else talking.
Justin,
me for you being loud.
Justin, side note here, on the Blitz, because George uses his phone, anytime you start talking while he's talking, he goes to the background.
I do.
Oh, absolutely. Sweet. That sounds great.
Yeah. So you don't have to talk over him. You just have to talk. All right. Quarter point PPR. Must pick 2. That sounds like a chat. Like that sounds like a threat. You must pick 2. Allen Robinson. We're going to start with the back end here. Gallup, Allen Robinson, Dubs, Waddle, DJ Moore. George, we're going to kick it off because Justin's just kind of a observer on this one.
So my intent this morning was to type in all my questions to you guys and let you do what you got to do. But since you only have 2, you really needed somebody else. So I'm popping in to help, but I still need my help. So that's why I'm still throwing out these questions.
So I'm starting DJ Moore. And the reason I'm starting DJ Moore is with the new coaching change that they have there in Carolina, you would expect them to want to get the ball into the hands of their playmakers a little bit more than what they've been doing in the past. So I'm gonna roll the dice on DJ Moore here. I'm not gonna play Waddle against Minnesota. Skylar Thompson, as the starting quarterback, he will get the ball to Tyreek. It won't be pretty, but he'll do enough to make Tyreek valuable. Unless Waddle breaks one, I just don't see enough volume for Waddle and Tyreek both to be fantasy relevant. So I'm going to sit Waddle. I'm going to go with Dobbs here against the Jets because I've seen absolutely nothing from Robinson. And I like Dobbs a little bit more than I like Michael Gallup versus Philadelphia. Philadelphia's secondary has been playing pretty good. They're a good defense. I'm going to go Dobbs against the Jets.
So I was 100% prepared to say DJ Moore and Waddle. George knows the Dolphins better than I do if he thinks Waddle's going to have a down day because Skylar, 7th round, Thompson, right, George? Skylar Thompson. If he's saying don't play Waddle, then I'm going to have to back him on that because he knows the Dolphins a good bit better than I do. So I'll say DJ Moore, who with PJ Walker, that's who's starting this week, scares me a little bit, but PJ Walker came out and said, like, I'm going to get it to our studs. And he can't mean Robbie Anderson. He just can't. So I'm gonna say DJ Moore and Romeo Dubs. Dubs has a good matchup, so we'll go there.
Stay tuned. I have my flex positions coming up here next, so you still might have a shot at getting Waddle in there.
When you said he's going to get to his studs, I was clearly forgot to mention Terrence Marshall.
Yeah.
It is. Every offseason is Terrence Marshall season.
Yes.
Let's see. Wide receiver 2 in a flex. Waddle, Lockett, Devontae, currently sitting Waddle. And I think based on that last conversation, I think Lockett's been playing well. Did I see something about an injury with Lockett? Let me look that up while you guys answer this one. But right now, until I look up his injury, Lockett and Devonta are the starters for me. Justin.
Yeah, I agree completely. Lockett's been playing really well. Devonta has played well when he's had decent matchups, and he's even played okay when he's had tough matchups. So I think he's your safe floor here. And against the Cowboys, this game, it could go either way. It could be heavily defensive, or it could, out of nowhere, we're seeing huge offensive numbers. I think he's kind of a boomer bust, but in a way with the options here, I think he's your safer floor because of everything that George said about Waddle earlier.
And so what I am seeing is that like he was limited in practice with a hamstring, but it doesn't look like he's out. But something to monitor for sure. And I probably still play him over Waddle until I see what happens with him and Skylar Thompson. Correct me if I'm wrong. Your left, is it right tackle is out also this week, George?
So our left tackle has a toe injury. He's got a turf toe. He's been playing with it all season. It flared up real bad against the Jets, and he ended up leaving that game. We've been missing our right tackle for most of the season. So we were down both of our tackles at the end of last game. Our starting right tackle practiced this week, came off of IR. They're expecting him to play. We don't really know about the left tackle, Torin Armstead. We'll find out about him right before game time because he's a game time decision. The reason I'm low on Waddle this week is because, like I said, unless he breaks one, which is absolutely possible. Like, don't get me wrong, you could absolutely see a 5 or 7 yard slant go 69 yards for a touchdown with Waddle. That is within the range of possibilities. I'm not betting on that happening. The Dolphins are going to focus a lot more on run game again this week. They with Skylar Thompson back there, they're going to kind of want him just to manage the game, not cause any turnovers, allow the run game and the defense to do its thing. I expect Tyreek Hill to get most of the offensive targets. There'll be some to Waddle. There'll be some to Gesicki. Goodbye, Justin. There's a lot going on with the Dolphins right now. I'm not a big fan of their offense in general, but I'm still going to play Tyreek. I'm still going to play Mostert. Those are the only two guys from the Dolphins I want any interest in right now. Come back to Waddle next week when Tua's behind center playing against the Steelers, though.
Okay. Sounds good, George. So Trans-Siberian says, need to run, 5'10 there in Poland, and wife ringing the dinner bell. Thanks again, Justin. Feel free to drop us anytime. Dr. Pepper and Twizzlers. Hey, so next time before you go, Trans-Siberian, if there's anything you should know about George and I, we're 100% now less interested in football and 100% more interested on what you're having for dinner.
Absolutely.
So totally next time, drop what the wife's making. Let us know what you're having, even if it's not something fancy. We like to
conversations and what Jason's getting at really is like he doesn't know what he's doing for dinner. I don't know what I'm doing for dinner. So by you telling us what you're having, that may be something that we copy for dinner.
I actually know what I'm having for dinner. I won't bore the audience with it unless we run out of questions, and then I'll tell the story. Okay. So Bobby Pigskins, buenos dias, mi amigos. Hey, Bobby, just a reminder, you can enter again as a T2T fanatic. You can say T2T fanatic and leave your credentials, your Twitter credentials after that, and we'll get you another entry. Dustin Hetrich, this one's a tough one because they've both been bad and they're both up against bad matchups this week. Pollard or Algier in a full PPR. And Justin's making his way back, so I'll let him get situated. George, I'll let you go first.
So I'm not starting Algier. I and it's a terrible matchup for the Dallas running backs. Pollard's the backup, splitting time with Zeke, but Pollard has been the more explosive player this year. They're involving him in the passing game, which I expect them to have to do to beat the what's it called? To beat the Eagles. So I'm going to go with Pollard here. I just think he's the more explosive of the two. He's got the better matchup, believe it or not. I'm not playing Tyler Algier against the 49ers. They're fourth-ranked defense against the run. I just don't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I don't like the matchup for Algier either. I'm definitely going to stick with Pollard.
And that'll make three of us. Bobby Pigskin says, Hayden Hurst at New Orleans, Noah Fant versus Arizona. I've been banging the drum for Hayden Hurst all season since the preseason.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I can't do that. I can't undo that here. Look, I like Noah Fant this week. He's got a good matchup, but the problem is they also have Will Dissly and I'm sure 3 or 4 other tight ends that Geno Smith would be happy to hit in the end zone. So as much as I like Noah Fant because the tight ends on the Seahawks have a good matchup, like you don't know which one it's going to be, and it has been Dissly a couple times. Justin, Hayden Hurst or Noah Fant?
Hayden Hurst, and I hate the matchup for Hayden Hurst. I'm not expecting anything big here, but he's got your better floor here for all the same reasons Jason said. This is almost a no-brainer for me.
And George?
Yeah, it's Hayden Hurst. I don't know what Noah Fant has shown anybody to A, have him rostered, unless this is a dynasty, and B, to want to actually start and play him.
But I see the temptation with that matchup, though. That's why he's asking the question, I'm sure.
I get the matchup is juicy, but there's like they use 3 different tight ends there. Like if you want to just take a dart throw shot at a tight end, go get Taysom Hill. I understand he's a quarterback and a running back and not really a tight end, but he plays the tight end position. That's what he's labeled at in almost every league. Go get yourself some Taysom Hill.
He should be rostered everywhere. But
he's probably not available most places anymore. Yeah. So I'm going to answer the end of I'm going to answer the end of this question with my start for the next question. So hold Farmouth or drop him for another TE would be Fant or Hurst. Look for Zach Gentry also. Now, personally, I think I'm going Hayden Hurst here, but Zach Gentry's playing against Tampa, who I think it's either first or second worst against tight ends. Very vulnerable in the way that they play defense to the tight ends. Gentry played well in spots.
I also just popped this up that he threw out there as well. That's another. That's actually a good one right there for this week.
So I had to do that in one of my leagues, and it feels so gross. George, what do you think about Evan Ingram, Gentry, Hurst? And then we also talked about Fant, so it's obviously not that.
It's still #never Fant. I would actually go Evan Ingram here. Being that he's an option, I'll take that. He's had 11 PPR points last week. Week 5, he had 6 catches, 69 yards. He's been consistently getting the targets from Trevor Lawrence, and he's had double digits in PPR in the last 2 games he's played. I'll definitely take Evan Ingram against the 27th ranked. No offense, Justin. Indianapolis Colts against the tight end. Like that's not very good at all against tight ends. I would take Evan Ingram here, and it's not even remotely close, to be honest.
Yeah, no offense taken at all. That's why I popped this up as soon as I saw that he mentioned it, because I know how bad the Colts are against tight ends, and especially without Shaq Leonard, and he's out again this week. There's really no reason not to start any tight end, and again, that's playing against the Colts. But then also, like, I know this is going to step on some people's toes. I know he was a great quarterback in college. Still hasn't quite proven to me that he's going to be a good quarterback, and Trevor Lawrence is going to be a good quarterback in the NFL necessarily. And those lesser than average quarterbacks, they rely on the tight end position. And that's why we're seeing Evan Ingram have a better season this year. And also Evan isn't dropping the ball like he usually always did when he was in New York. So they must have developed some new hands for him down there in Jacksonville.
It's that Florida weather, man. It's so hot and sticky. The ball just sticks to your hands.
So, in as much as I like Hayden Hurst, I just went and looked and see where my rankings were on them both, and I have Ingram 2 spots higher than Hurst this week. Yeah. So they're in the ballpark, but I think Evan Ingram's your play here. He also says, should he hold Freiermuth or drop him? Sorry, we just did that one. Is Gus Edwards worth holding on to? Could use the IR slot on Freiermuth. I personally would hold on to Gus Edwards because running backs are scarce. He's getting ready to come back. He's been designated to come back. It's just a matter of time. Dobbins hasn't shown that he can do anything with the time. Dobbins has shown he can do very little with the time he gets on the field, and I think Gus Edwards has proven over the years that he can be effective. So personally, we just talked about 4 or 5 tight ends that I would play around the same as Freiermuth. Not saying if you have one of the studs, it's not worth it, but you don't. So, I don't see that Freiermuth is that much of an advantage over Hayden Hurst when healthy, over Evan Ingram with matchups. I think you can play the matchups much better with tight ends than you can with running backs. So that's why I would just hold on to Gus Edwards. Any disagreement there?
No, and Gus Edwards is literally one injury away from J.K. Dobbins to being the starting running back there. I disagree with Jason when he said J.K. Dobbins hasn't done anything. That's not true. He is a good running back. His ceiling is completely limited with R. Jackson and with Gus Edwards returning. His ceiling is going to be completely capped because the Ravens don't care about your fantasy team. They just want to win games. But I would definitely hold Gus Edwards more than I would tight end that I can just stream. And Freiermuth, honestly, I've got no interest in keeping him on my roster.
But JK's name is JK, so you never know when he's just messing with you.
This is true.
That's George. You should have just known to sit there and be silent on that one. That was bad.
It was bad. Oh, I gotta make a confession to our friend here, Bobby. We talked about pizza rolls last week, and I shit all over them. Oh,
that's cuss number 2.
That's number 2.
Not football related. Go ahead.
It's no longer family friendly.
He's wasting them on non-football related questions. It sucks.
Yeah, but it's pizza rolls. I'm interested. Come on, let's get to this.
So after I took a dog poop on pizza rolls last week, and the best way to cook them is to put them in the air fryer. Then once you put them in the air fryer, you let them cool off. Then you walk your plate over to the garbage and you dump them all in. As soon as we got off the air last week, I had to go cook pizza rolls for my daughter because she wanted some.
Well, so on the bright side, they're just now cool enough for her to eat. She's going to enjoy those for breakfast this morning.
The problem is they melted the bottom of the bag at the dump at this point.
No, the problem is you guys. I got a bag in there right now. I might just have to fix up for the 1:00 games.
I don't mind. Look, I'm not the guy that crapped on pizza rolls. I enjoy pizza rolls, but them things, if you cook them now, you might get to catch them by tonight's Dallas-Philadelphia game.
Monday night.
Anytime you eat them before that, they're going to melt the inside of your mouth, and then you can't taste anything going forward.
He's eating them Monday night, Jason. He's going to start, so they'll be nice and cool by Monday night for him to eat.
So Justin, I do have your question potted up. Once we get through a couple of these, I'll get some.
Ask the viewers first.
And by the way, Howard Kim, Chris's videos, guys. I'm a T2T fanatic, and then mention your Twitter handle there, and you can get entered in the $100 gift card Fanatics gift card thing that we're doing. So just say I'm a T2T fanatic. You're already posting in here anyway. You might as well do it. It gives you a good shot. And from the Blitz, I'd love to be the guy who has the most submissions. So yes. Submit. All right. All right. Flex Zeke, Pollard, or Boone?
Ooh.
Can I just say no? Look, I think honestly it sucks, but at this point I'm leaning Boone. Zeke hasn't done anything. Pollard hasn't done anything. If Melvin Gordon isn't playing, which there's a possibility tomorrow night, Boone is going to be a smash. But I am willing to be wrong here. Guys, let me know how I'm wrong.
So luckily, this Cowboys-Eagles game is also a late game. It's Sunday night, which, by the way, is going to be a phenomenal game. I cannot wait for that game. But and I never would have thought I would say that with Cooper Rush at the helm, but I think that it's going to be a great game to watch. But anyhow, if they come out throughout the day and say that Melvin Gordon is definitely out Monday night, then this is a no-brainer. You're starting Boone and have fun, enjoy the game. If it's up in the air, I'm not taking that chance because I really feel like Melvin Gordon's going to want to do all he can to get out on the field for this Monday night game. I'm leaning heavily that Gordon's going to play, and he's going to play hurt, and he's going to lose time. And it's going to kind of hurt everybody there. So give me Zeke against the divisional rival. As much as I would absolutely hate to want to start Zeke and rely on Zeke, this is a flex position, so you don't need a huge game out of him. You just need a steady game, and I think he can get you at least 60 yards rushing, probably a couple of receptions, and maybe he'll fall into the end zone.
George, I saw you shaking your head at me saying Boone. So what's your?
I'm not going with Boone. I fully expect Melvin Gordon to play. At this point, I think a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of running backs, a lot of wide receivers, a lot of linebackers, a lot of defensive offensive line are all playing hurt and injured. So I fully expect Melvin Gordon to go out there and be the starter, and so that's going to limit your upside with Boone. So it does come down to Zeke and Pollard.
It's a tough one too.
I like Pollard. So I feel like Zeke is going to do your red zone targets, right? Like if they get within the 5, they're going to hand the ball to Zeke. They're not going to hand it to Pollard. They're going to hand it to Zeke. So he gets those high value, within the 5 touches that you want your running back to have. The problem is Pollard gets basically everything else. Like they still feed Zeke, in between the 20s and whatnot. But Pollard, they feed him, they give him catches in the passing game, and he's just a lot more explosive than Zeke. So if you're looking for somebody to rip off a big play or two between Zeke and Pollard, it's going to be Pollard. He's the more explosive of the two back. He gets the PPR points because he's the receiving back as well. I'm going with Pollard over Zeke. I think Pollard's going to have the better game. That's all.
So I said Boone at the outset, but my rankings are Boone, Pollard, Zeke. So if I had to pick to break the tie, I would switch to Pollard, and it's for a lot of the things that George highlighted. The Eagles' defense is no joke. They get after the quarterback. To me, that limits the amount of goal line carries that the Cowboys are potentially going to have, and that's where I see where Zeke could have a big game, like Justin said, fall into the end zone a couple times. I think the amount of times that's going to happen is limited, so I think it's going to take a bigger play from Pollard in order to get one of these two guys into the end zone. I think at this point in their careers, Pollard has a better case to do that than Zeke does, so that's why I would leak Pollard here over Zeke, just to break that tie. All right, Chris's videos. J.K. Dobbins or James Robinson this week, half point PPR. And George, you just talked for a bunch, so why not a little bit more?
Oh, gee, thank you. I'm going to be sitting James Robinson. Slowly but surely, they've been getting him less and less involved in this offense. Excuse me, and they've been getting ETN more and more involved. So I'm going to go with Dobbins. He's got the better matchup. I like the matchup with Indiana. They're not very good against the run. They're 19th overall. But I just think that this is going to be another ETN game over a Robinson game. That's the way the trend has been going. So for this one, Chris, I'm going to go with Dobbins here.
And you can call me slow, but don't call me Shirley. Justin, what do you got?
I'm gonna agree with George here. I got J.K. Dobbins listed over Robinson, and for all the same reasons. I do think that ETN is going to eat today. I have no faith in the Colts defense anymore. So, but it's going to be tough to see both of them eat, and I think it depends on game situations. I think that the Colts keep it close enough that they're going to want to throw more. They're going to want to ETN is a little bit more explosive, in my opinion. He's just a better running back in general. So he's going to be the guy that gets involved a little bit more. J.K. Dobbins is the guy I'm going with.
And it would be fun for me to say James Robinson. That way, if I'm right, if I say James Robinson and I'm right, then I get the win. And if I'm wrong, you took Dobbins anyway. But it's too tough for me to say that. I'm going to say J.K. Dobbins and not go the coward's way out for once.
The problem last week against the Texans, James Robinson only had 10 carries for 27 yards, 2 catches for 12. Like, that is brutal. Now, if you look back against the last time the Jaguars played the Colts, like, Robinson had a fantastic game. Let me see what are the stats on him. He had 23 carries for 64 yards and a touchdown. Like, you'll take that, right? Like, that's fantastic. He scored on a 37-yard touchdown run in that game, though. So more than half his yards and his production came in one play. Without that one play, James Robinson looked absolutely terrible that game with 22 carries and 31 yards, minus that one big play. Now, obviously, you can't go back and take away that play. It actually happened. But, like, he just has not been very good. The numbers are a bit deceiving on how good he's actually been. Like, he started out a ball of fire to start the year, but it's not trending his way. It's ETN is taking over that backfield. So I would go with Dobbins.
All right. And the most important answer to any question this morning, Trans-Siberians having pork chops and mashed potatoes. And I got to be honest, for some reason, Polish pork chops just sound more delicious. Don't you guys think, like, when you hear, like, pork chops from Poland, don't you think, like, some really freaking meaty, delicious pork chops? Or is that just me?
I think that pork is probably going to be pork anywhere, isn't it?
I don't know about that. I've seen what they do. I see what they do to pigs around here.
So I married into a Polish family, so definitely tell you, Polish pork chops are a lot better than American pork chops. They're just cooked different.
All right. See, Justin, that's what I'm saying. It's just I just had that feeling like Polish pork chops are delicious. All right.
Pork chops or mashed potatoes would be an easy decision. You're going with pork chops.
Yeah. All right, Chris's videos. This one is tough because holy crap, where do you get these options? Breece Hall, Mike Williams, Tyler Higbee, Kenneth Walker, or Travis or ETN in the flex, full PPR.
It's Kenneth Walker for me. I mean, he's going to have all the opportunity. Give that man the ball. Breece Hall is still splitting carries with Carter, and it seems to be working out really well right now for both of them. And Hall's also getting some solid reception. out of that. But I mean, they're playing the Packers this week. The Packers defense is better than advertised. Give me Kenneth Walker.
George?
Yeah, it came down to Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker for me, even though I absolutely love these options, Chris.
Yeah.
God, I want to play them all. I'm going to go with Kenneth Walker. As Justin mentioned, he's going to get the full workload with no Rashard Penny. He's got the better matchup. Arizona is middle of the pack against the run. Cardinals have allowed 4 running backs to score at least 12 PPR points this season. I'm definitely going to go with Walker. What I might even do is take some of these options, and I would try to match some of these up and trade for even better players.
Yeah, take these borderline studs, match a couple of them up, and go get you a real stud. But I'm gonna say I'm actually gonna say Breece Hall. He's the guy I eyed on this from the start. Now 2 of us said Kenneth Walker. I understand. Breece Hall went down on the 1 twice, and that from long runs, and that gave Michael Carter the opportunity to fall in the end zone twice. Had he not gone down on the 1, it would have been a blow-up game for Breece Hall. It's only a matter of time before he crosses the goal line, before he goes down. And it's one of those things like as a fantasy owner, you're like telling the Jets, man, just take a timeout. So instead of Michael Carter walking in, you can give the guy, the guy who got you all the way down there, the ball. I know that doesn't work for the regular NFL, but it, I think bigger games, and he had a monster game last week, but bigger games are ahead of Breece Hall if he falls in the end zone. That's why I'd pick him up, or I'd play him here. But again, it's 2-1, and it's totally understandable with Kenneth Walker. Justin, you had your finger up.
Yeah. So real quick, Damian Harris is officially out. So I know that there was a lot of back and forth with Belichick trying to hide how serious it really was because he's a prick. And then T. Higgins is definitely in. So T. Higgins is playing. So obviously, I know that makes it very difficult on so many people right now. What do you expect out of T. Higgins playing injured? And then you probably had Boyd fired up, ready to roll. And
I mean, I pulled Higgins. I pulled Higgins out of my lineup for Rondale Moore. And it's not because I think Rondale Moore could have a very good game this week. I'm slotting him to have a very good game this week.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the 30-point ceiling that like T. Higgins has had, or 20-plus point ceilings that Higgins has had. And I came into today fully saying to myself, I don't care if he's active or not. I'm not playing T. Higgins. And then I hear he's available, and there's just something in me that wants to run back to CBS and say, okay, Higgins, you're my guy. Get in there.
Yep. Also, the Rams are talked to potentially be in talks of trading away Cam Akers.
Yep.
And they could trade him before the deadline.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks from it. It's so odd that we've gone from a full offseason of Cam Akers is going to be the guy. He's the only guy. He's the stud guy.
This guy's been saying Henderson all along.
I think the 3 of us have all been on Henderson. Now, George and mine is most likely because we met him and he was a cool guy. We got to meet him a couple years ago on his rookie season in SportsCon, and he was the only one who actually couldn't sign an autograph for us at the moment we met him, and actually sought us out later to give us an autograph. Like, he actually came back to us when he didn't have to. So just like a good guy.
Yeah.
It gives me a little bias, I gotta say, but like in this offseason, we just haven't seen a guy come back from an Achilles and be good. And
George likes to drop that picture on a regular basis too. So he has the evidence.
I did tweet that it might be Darrell Henderson.
Yeah.
That's my Twitter line.
I got to see if I have one of those pictures too, because I knew I took one of you with him. I don't know if you were nice enough to turn around and get one with me with him. I've got to go.
I think I did. I don't have.
So. How many times is Darrell Henderson checking Twitter and he sees that picture and pop up at a random post and it's like, Jesus, this guy again? He's like misery.
Listen, I'm a professional. I don't tag players, at least not in stupid stuff like that. Like if they do something great off the field or a charitable cause or something like that, then I'll tag the player. But for the most part, I don't tag players at all. So unless he's searching his name Like he's never seen that photo and has
Or his
no idea
DMs.
in his life who I am.
Brandon Williams says, CD is questionable. Do I plug in Waddle or Michael Carter? I'm still going with CD here.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's-
I agree. And
He's going to play in prime time.
If it gets down to the point where it looks like he's like going to play, but he's going to be hobbled or he's not going to play at all, then you have Michael Carter available. Well, what time is the
No, they're in prime time tonight.
Yeah,
so,
but the Jets game might be 4:00 though. I'm just saying a lot of times those.
Oh, you've got some time. Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit of time to think about it. And nope. Jets are 1:00. Yeah, you got to make that decision now.
I would go with CD. Listen, it's a primetime game. He's playing.
Yeah.
All right, we've got some sleeper stuff coming in. I just want to take a look real quick. Nick Foles has changed his status to out. I guess that's interesting. Like Nick Foles is like, "Hey, I'm out," and the culture like, "Yeah, you are."
Here's the thing though. Like those of us that are avid Colts fans right now are kind of wishing we could see what Nick Foles has to bring to this offense. So what this does is it secures us another week of mediocrity.
So it's because Dolphins fans are the same way. Like when Tua got hurt, it's like, oh, we want to see what we got in Skylar Thompson. We want to see what we got in Skylar Thompson. Listen, Skylar Thompson is not better than Teddy Bridgewater right now in his career. I'm sorry, he's not. Teddy Bridgewater has 60 wins under his NFL career belt. He's a starting quarterback. He knows how to read these defenses. Skylar Thompson is not it, guys. I hate to tell you that. I really wish Teddy Bridgewater was starting this week.
Yeah.
All right,
but to be fair, though, if Matt Ryan was playing like Tua right now, then I probably would not want to see what Nick Foles had to bring to this offense.
Kyle Rudolph, not that important, but he's out. Jacoby Myers is healthy. Raheem Mostert is healthy. Nick Foles is out. T. Higgins, like you just mentioned, is in. Hayden Hurst got moved to healthy and in. Chris Olave status is out with that concussion. Zay Jones is going to play. So that question where we had said if Zay Jones is playing, play Zay Jones. Well, he's playing. All right. Jeff Wilson or James Robinson. I think the consensus here is going to be Jeff Wilson.
Oh, yes.
Let's see. Pick 1.5 PPR. Duvernay, Elijah Moore, or Michael Gallup. I'll take this one first. I'm going to say Duvernay and I haven't seen that Rashad Bateman's in or out, but I figure he was trending towards out. And I'm going to go look that up while I pass it off to George and Justin.
Go ahead, Justin.
Gallup, and honestly, for no other reason other than it's prime time. Like this is almost a tie for me across the board. This is a great decision to have to make.
Bateman is ruled out. So.
Gallup, especially with CD being questionable, possibly playing hurt, like they may need to rely on Gallup a little bit more. And Gallup has progressively gotten better each week since he's been back. So I'm going to go with Gallup.
So I'm
making a three-way tie.
I like the Michael Gallup's chances this week, but I'm actually going to go with Jason here and go with Duvernay, especially with Rashard Bateman out. Last week with no Rashard Bateman, Duvernay had 5 catches, 54 yards on 7 targets, plus they involved him in the running game as well, which is another reason that limits the upside of J.K. Dobbins. They gave him 3 carries for 24 yards. So it's clear they were trying to get Duvernay heavily involved in this offense. He's been heavily involved in this offense every game this year, basically. And it's going up against the Giants. Giants have allowed at least 6 wide receivers to get 12 PPR points or more on the season. So I'm going to go with Duvernay here.
So I think where I'm lying here between Duvernay and Michael Gallup is the game flow and how the games are going to go. And with Duvernay, the Ravens are playing the Giants, and the Giants have been playing really well. There's a really good chance that this could be a good close game. That Giants defense could maybe hold back Jackson and make this a good close game. Make the game script a neutral game script so that they have to run pass equally. There is that chance. And if that happens, I think Duvernay probably outperforms Michael Gallup. But I almost feel like I know that the Cowboys and the Eagles game is going to be a tight game all the way through, as it should be, as it usually is. Divisional matchup. And I feel like that one is definitely going to be a neutral game script for Gallup the entire way through. So where I feel like Duvernay has the higher upside, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at, and Michael Gallup has the higher floor. So it kind of depends on what your team makeup is, what your projections are right now, and what you feel like you need. You need that bigger play potential, then go ahead and go with Duvernay.
All right, so that's 2 for Duvernay, but I do like Justin's logic there. If you want a ceiling, Duvernay. If you want a floor, Gallup. Mike D, and I'm going to tell every single one of you guys asking questions, remember to comment. I'm a T2T fanatic, and leave your Twitter handle. I want to get some more entries into the $100 Fanatics gift card giveaway that we're doing. So remember to do that. Howard Kim says, if you have time, and Howard, we got time for you always, man. If Kareem Hunt versus Juju Smith-Schuster versus Romeo Doubs for the flex, I'm gonna start this off with Kareem Hunt, and I don't know that it's particularly close for me on this one. Justin, what do you think?
I can go with Kareem Hunt here. I think that running game needs to be where they go to be able to win the game against the Patriots today. Yeah, he gets enough looks and he's explosive enough that when he does get the looks, he usually does something with it. So I'm good with that.
And George.
Yeah, make it 3 for 3. Give me Kareem Hunt for the reasons mentioned. Yeah, they want to run the ball. Patriots are a good run defense, but I think Kareem Hunt has himself a good game today.
All right, and then another important one here. Just hoping that the Colts win today, so Justin doesn't get moody. LOL. And Justin, thinking that I'm a professional, he knows I'm not a professional. Knows that I would have to put this up. So thank you, Lori. Keep them coming.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've got some bad vibes about this one. It's the Jaguars again, so I'm probably going to be pretty moody.
Let's see. Brandon Williams, tight end currently Disley, or do I drop to play Brait, Dalton, Henry, or Troutman Johnson? Man, those are a lot of not great options.
On the season, I still want Brait here. They started to gain a little bit of chemistry before Brait got hurt, but for this matchup for today, I cannot bench Disley. I'm starting Disley. Well, that's one of my questions I was going to come up with later if we had time, was Disley or Pitts. And as of right now, I've got Disley in there over Pitts. I love the matchup today. I think Disley's going to have a great game.
So look, Brait is just a guy at this point. I know Tom has had some chemistry with him in the past. His body has been beaten up pretty badly by the NFL up to this point, and I think he's just an average. He's just as likely to get you 2 for 20 as he is to get you 4 for 50. And 4 for 50, honestly, with a touchdown, is like the highest ceiling he could possibly attain this season. Cade Otton showed some chemistry with him last week. Cade Otton supplanted Brait on the depth chart. Now they'll both get in plenty this week. But I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see Cade Otton get more and more involved, showing he can be a serviceable blocker, which does remove the need for Brait to be on the field in single tight end sets. So I can't going forward. I can't see using Brait. For me, this one comes down to, and it's hard because Dalton Schultz is not like, you have to write him off at this point. He was a pretty highly drafted tight end. George and I sniped each other on him in several leagues, and we each are paying for that now. For me, it's either Henry or Disley here. Henry got involved last week, so I'm going to hope that continues. Because, again, we talked about Disley, Fant, and I forgot who their third tight end is, but, Geno Smith hasn't. So Disley's played well. It's just, is it going to be Fant? Is it going to be a third tight end? I think I'm leaning Henry here, but George, break the tie for us.
Yeah, I'll break the tie. I'm going to go with William Disley. Cards are number 31 against the tight ends. Like, every tight end just has a good game against them. And now the Seattle will deploy 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different tight ends in this game. Don't get me wrong. But of that committee, Will Disley is the leader of that committee. 4 tight ends have scored at least 10 PPR points against Arizona. Will Disley leads all tight ends on his team with every year. Good chance he gets in there again this week. He is actually a sleeper tight end for me this week. I would go with Will Disley.
Okay, so that's 2 for Disley. And then play Gallup this week. or try to find someone on waivers. Injuries and buys are killing. And Philip Lindsay worth a pickup. Justin, I'll leave the Philip Lindsay question to you because he's the only running back, he's the only running back there that's seen significant starter time in the NFL.
So I think Deion Jackson's actually going to be the guy for today against the Jaguars, but also the Jaguars' run defense is pretty tough. That front four can play, especially against the Colts. They've got our number, and they know how to shut us down. And our offensive line we might be the highest paid offensive line in the league, but we're also the third worst offensive line in the league. I'm kind of avoiding all Colts running backs and almost all of my Colts players, period, this week, except for maybe Michael Pittman. And I'm pretty happy about it too. I may start a Colts team defense if I had them, but that's about it. For me, with this particular question, don't worry about going to pick up somebody off of waivers. They weren't even good enough for you to give us a list on who it is. And you drafted Michael Gallup, most likely. You held on to him through all these injuries, or you waited until he got off the injury so you could go pick him up for a reason. And now he has an opportunity to play tonight. And it's going to be prime time. Tiebreakers always go to the prime time game. So Michael Gallup, it is for me.
Unless it's Thursday night.
See, I disagree. I still like that Thursday night, mostly because I know they're going to crap on me, but I want them to have some kind of dog in the fight, and so I can enjoy the game. Usually in that situation, if I don't have anybody, I'll just go get a kicker for Thursday night so I can root for field goals because that's been paying off.
George, you good with just holding Gallup?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm holding on to Gallup. Listen, I did drop him in another league.
I almost picked him up.
Yep. It's a league where he was my number 5 wide receiver, and I did need wide receiver help in that league, but I'm taking a flyer on Odell Beckham Jr. in that league. So I figured with the news coming out that he was close to re-signing with the Rams, I do expect to get picked up and be ready to go by playoff time, which is the only reason I added him is I've got pretty good odds of making the playoffs. So having somebody like Odell on the team to where I can actually leave him on the bench a few weeks, let him get his game legs under and whatnot. That's the only reason I dropped Gallup. But yeah, I would go with Gallup, and I would not pick up Philip Lindsay. In 2 weeks, Philip Lindsay will be back on a practice squad somewhere.
All right. And we got pizza rolls. More talk about pizza rolls. They're tiny lava pockets. They absolutely are. Howard Kim, I really appreciate this. We can figure out a way to get you entered, but I also need you to give us your Twitter handle or something so we can get, if you win, we can get you the gift card. So we can do,
if we don't hear from you, then we'll do the same thing that we did for the last one, and we'll just put you in as a YouTube connection if we can. But that means you might have to stay in contact with us, and we'll. But if you got any social media or even an email, that would be awesome. If you don't want to give out your email to everybody, you can DM the show or something. Send us an email, it's toiletstitles@gmail.
So Josh Bigby, Cade Otton, or Albert O? I mean, I'm going Cade Otton. And it's not like I have some insight into Cade Otton here. I just neither one of them are that good. Russ is, again, it's another 3 tight end usage there. And you never know if Albert O is going to be the guy. Cade Otton can get you 5 receptions for 40-something yards, get you a 9-point game in a PPR. So that's where I'm going.
I'm going to recommend he check out this website called fusionffb.com. They have amazing rankings there, and that's where I would go to get my tight end rankings of nasty, gross, disgusting options at tight ends. But for this purposes, I would agree with Jason, and I would go with Cade Otton.
So my suggestion was going to be go back a couple weeks and listen to Next Week Tonight on the Fusion podcast, because I'm sure both of these guys were at least talked about a couple of weeks ago, because the guy that runs that podcast, Next Week Tonight on Fusion, usually tries to reach ahead of time, like he kind of sees into the future. I think the guy has a crystal ball, really, because he's usually pretty accurate. And
I believe week 7, he's already telling us who we should pick up for week 7.
Well, but you think if a guy like that, if you did listen to a guy like that, you probably wouldn't have to pick between K-Dot and Albert O. So maybe.
Well, the problem with that though is that situations do change over a 2-week period, and this guy only sees 2 weeks in advance, not 2 hours.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that movie Next with Nicolas Cage, where you can only see so long into the future? Like,
that was great.
Yeah, similar situation there. I understand, Josh. We'll help you out here. It's K-Dot with those two.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with K-Dot as well.
All right. So Joe, I guess Joe didn't have a Pearl Jam concert today. He's in the car leaving his daughter's baptism. Needs quick help. Eno Benjamin or Matt Stafford. I almost always pick the quarterback here, but I think Eno Benjamin's gonna eat today. I'm gonna say Eno Benjamin and just leave it at that. George, I saw you nodding your head at the baptism. So go ahead.
Well, I was wondering, like, maybe he was baptizing his daughter to Pearl Jam.
Or at a Pearl Jam concert.
Baptizing her. I mean, that is all possible. It's within the range of outcomes, as we like to say.
We need to bring up a Pearl Jam song that has water in it.
So instead of Can't Find a Better Man, can it be Can't Find the Baptism?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, go ahead.
To answer his question, I'm still going Matt Stafford because I think there's a better chance that Matt Stafford gives you that safe floor at a quarterback in the Superflex. I'm going to go Stafford. I can't sit a quarterback, at least a quarterback that has a ceiling like Matt Stafford's for Eno Benjamin. I don't care how good the matchup is.
So I'm the tiebreaker, huh? Thanks.
You're welcome.
Man, this one is really tough because I have a lot of shares of Stafford across the board, and he has done nothing but disappoint. And even when he had that huge 70-yard touchdown pass to Cup, and you're all excited, and you go check the scores, and then he has 3 more turnovers, and that's about all he does during the whole game. So, but again, I hate to agree with George, but this is like it's a quarterback versus a running back. It's a running back that has a high ceiling and a quarterback that has a low floor. And even with that, I'm going to have to still give it to the quarterback because he's got that potential of throwing 2 touchdowns to Cup. He could potentially run in a quarterback sneak from the 1-yard line. He's been known to do that. I mean, there's just a lot of possibilities in that offense for Stafford to score. And you would have to think that eventually that's going to catch up. He's got to see some positive regression here at some point this season. To go from being this high up last season to just this far down this season, I mean, I don't know. I'm waiting on that breakout, and I don't want him on my bench when it happens.
And the matchup is prime. Like he's against the Panthers. Panthers have allowed at least 3 quarterbacks 22 points at home. So, I mean, you have to think, even if Stafford goes out and let's say he only gets you 16 points, right? Like, what are the odds Eno Benjamin, even in a prime matchup, is going to get you 16 points? Like, I think that's close to Eno's ceiling, where 16 points should be the floor for Stafford in this matchup.
Let's see. So Pearl Jam does have a song called Oceans, so I guess that's the one we would just do because if you need water. So Oceans is the song for you, Joe. And then Toys Titles, we're saying that we want pictures of that in the but I don't know that they let you take pictures in concerts anymore, so we might not get those. And then
I'm not taking pictures. I can say that when I went to the Kevin Hart show, they had this company there that had these bags, and you had to put your cell phone in a bag, and it was locked magnetically, and you had no access to your phone at all for like 3 hours during the show. You couldn't make phone calls. You couldn't do text messages, no photos, no video, nothing.
And not for nothing, but that was the most peaceful 3 hours in our team chat that we've ever had in our lives.
This is true. Listen, I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed it. Like, it was a nice break getting away from the phone.
Well, it's one of those, like, comedians are trying to work out stuff. They're not quite complete, and they don't want you posting it and like ruining it for the next guy that comes and sees it in the final form. But let's see.
An opportunity to go see Kevin Hart, like, go do it. That dude, his show, absolutely awesome.
I would have wanted to have seen a picture of you next to Kevin Hart.
So Bobby says running back 2 in a flex, half PPR, Hunt, DJ Moore, J-Rob, Pollard. or Gallup. And George.
So I'm going to go for the running back. It comes down to Pollard, J-Rob, Hunt. I'm going to go Hunt here. I think he has the best day of those three options. And as far as the flex goes, I'm going to go DJ Moore against the Rams. I get it. It's a tough matchup. Jalen Ramsey, you expect him to be covering DJ Moore, but I think, you know what? No, I'm not going to go DJ Moore. I forgot they're down to like their 8th string quarterback. XFL legend is starting for them, and I can't even remember his name. That's how much of a legend he is.
PJ Walker.
PJ Walker, that's correct. I'm actually going to go Michael Gallup here versus Philly. So go Kareem Hunt and go Michael Gallup.
Dynamite. That's JJ Walker, right? Dynamite. Okay.
Before my time.
All right, Justin. Before your time, go ahead and go next.
So I'm going to agree with Hunt on the RB2 spot here. I've been talking so highly of Gallup, and then this pops up. Man, I don't know. I think for me, this flex spot, since it is half point PPR, I really think they're going to try to force feed DJ Moore a lot today. Even if it may not be effective, they're gonna try. I'm going with DJ Moore, and mostly because I want to see Jason have to break the tie.
So that one's it's tough because it is between DJ Moore and Gallup for me. I am going to take Hunt and I'm going to take Gallup. And again, it boils down to Ramsey versus Moore and Gallup on the second cornerback for the Eagles, the guy that's not named Darius Slay. So I'm going to say Gallup. Mike D says, thanks for bailing you out, Justin. I'm not sure what hijinks you guys got into, but cool. Dylan versus the Jets or Duvernay at the Giants? Oh, I'll start this one because it is gross, only because everybody thought Dylan was going to have a good year, and I haven't seen anything from him. So I'm going to say Duvernay versus the Jets because I think the ceiling is there. And Justin, you go next.
Yeah, I think the ceiling is there for both of them with this particular matchup, but I think one of them is probably a little more likely to happen, and that's Duvernay. So I think the Packers try to throw the ball a lot more this week. So I'm going to go with Duvernay.
And then George.
Plain sweet, it's Duvernay for the reasons I mentioned earlier. Matchup, his involvement, the lack of Rashard Bateman. Better opponent or better matchup. I just give me Duvernay.
Never mind. Look, now that
Higgins is in. I was going there next to see if this changed it. Higgins is playing. Do you guys trust it? So for me, here's the thing. Are you in good position where you are already a lock to make your where you're gonna make your playoffs if you've got good odds? You know, it really depends on if you need to gamble on Higgins to have a big week, you're a 1-4 team or whatever, play Higgins because, you know, you need to claw back in. But if you're a 4-1 team and you can lose a game, still make the playoffs, I absolutely take the safe floor of Duvernay and not worry about Higgins. It's actually something I'm looking at right now in my lineup because, like I said, I really want to play. I'm doing well in this league. I really want to play Higgins, but I think I'm going to probably put in the safe floor because it's a close matchup for me, and getting a 0 again is what killed me last week. I needed 8 total points to win the game, and I got a goose egg from him. You do wonder though if they're giving up a starting and active roster spot. If he wasn't good enough to play, why would they do that? But we've seen teams do dumber things. So for me, it really boils down to whether you absolutely need a win on whether you make this. And that rolls us right into this next one with
going back to, and it'll tie into this with Steve. I can give you 2 good reasons why you probably want to sit T. Higgins this week. Reason number 1, the coach came out and said that they want to get Tyler Boyd more involved in the offense. That's kind of like the old squeaky wheel getting the grease type thing. So actually, I'll give you 3 reasons. Between T. Higgins' injury, the fact that he's already suffered 2 concussions this year, one more hit, he's more likely to suffer another concussion. Justin and I talked about that with Dr. Jesse Morse on Friday on TGIF. Cheap plug for the show. Check it out every Friday at 7. The other reason why you kind of want to sit T. Higgins is, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but Joe Burrow actually showed up to today's game wearing Jamar Chase's LSU championship jersey. So, I mean, it's already confirmed at halftime Jamar Chase is going to have 17 catches for 26 yards and 8 touchdowns. So those 2 are going to get the ball this week. It's going to be a Boyd and it's going to be a Jamar Chase game. For those reasons, sit Higgins.
All right, so Steve, that answers your question here. But I will say, again, just like I was talking about, if you need a big game here, if you have to have it, Higgins. But if you need a safe floor here, Zay Jones. And I think Zay Jones is an absolute safe floor.
In Steve's case, I would actually start Higgins after everything I said.
Why is he playing you?
No.
I'd start Higgins.
I think Higgins is the better opportunity over Zay Jones.
Listen, I think there's a super high ceiling with Higgins, but I got burned on that 0 last week. So if you need a floor, if you're predicted to win this by a comfortable margin, and the only thing that can derail you, like it did me last week, is getting a flat out nothing from a guy, Zay Jones is not going to get you nothing. All right. Dustin coming back with another question. Higgins now playing. Should I swap Boyd out and play Pitts? He doesn't have Higgins, but he's got Boyd in. He was playing Boyd because Higgins was likely to not play. I still say no. Look, Pitts, Tyler Boyd, even without Higgins, is bound to get you the 4 points that Pitts has been getting you. And again, Pitts is playing the number 2 against tight end in the league with San Francisco. Pitts has gotten you 13 points once, and that was against Seattle. Literally the only time he's double digits or more than 4 points. Like, I don't know how you can play Pitts at this point unless you're just holding on to a tight end, like where you drafted him. And we're week 6. Where you drafted this guy does not matter. Ask all the Allen Robinson owners that have dropped him. So to me, I'm still playing Boyd here. Jen George puts his hands up. I'm right there with you in leagues, man. So Justin, do you agree? Boyd over Pitts or disagree?
I'm still gonna leave Boyd in there. I agree with you because it's at this point, it's more than just a coincidence. He's being utilized for other things other than catching the football and running routes. So I'm gonna stick with Boyd.
And George.
I'm gonna go with Pitts over Boyd. Like I said, he's the better player. You have to expect that at some point they're going to start getting Pitts involved, and I just don't want to play Boyd when I have a better option, and I still believe Pitts is the better option.
All right.
Can I rant real quick about the Scott Fishbowl for a second?
Absolutely.
You can. We do have a handful of questions, but
I'll make it quick. So in Scott Fishbowl, I'm in one of the sleeper app leagues, and I tried to argue, even with Scott Fish on our chat here, that it is a huge disadvantage that the sleeper app people cannot start 2 kickers. And here's a reasoning why. And they tried to argue with, no, the numbers show this, that, this, and that. Well, now we're at a point where everything is picked clean off of the waiver wires, and Marvin Jones is out. So now I have to choose between Matt Breida, Samaje Perine, or Zach Moss, all backup running backs. I could easily drop one of those guys and go pick up a kicker that's actually going to play and get points over one of these 3, but I can't because I'm in the sleeper app group that can only play one kicker. So there's where that huge disadvantage comes in, because even if it cost me the win or loss or whatever, it also cost me points on the season, which are big in Scott Fishbowl.
Well, it's also bad because we have to start a kicker, and there's teams, if my full team was healthy, there's absolutely guys I would play over my kicker. So like it's a disadvantage there too. It's tough. I'm glad they offered sleeper as an option, but it is tough, especially because as the season progresses, it's more about points than wins and losses. So it's tough when you have to compare two different systems with two different sets of rules. And like in your case, having a second kicker would be beneficial, and in my case, potentially not playing. Now Olave's out, so I'd probably play a kicker over some of my backup options there.
Right.
But if he was healthy, I for sure would have played another wide receiver, probably Duvernay, over the kicker I have. Okay,
Right.
let's see. Bateman is out. Okay. Higgins, Dubs, or Garrett Wilson in PPR. Can I trust Higgins?
I would go Romeo Dubs here. I like the matchup against the Jets. He had a down week last week. I expect a bounce back week for Aaron Rodgers. The best matchup he's had basically all year. The Jets secondary is not that great. I would Romeo Dubs here over Higgins and Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I just said I think that the Packers are going to throw the ball a lot more this week, so I'm sticking with Dubs as well.
And I'll make it 3 for 3 just based off like I am so on tilt right now about Rondale Moore versus Higgins now that Higgins is playing. But I'm gonna stick with Rondale Moore, and here I'm gonna say Romeo Dubs. George's wife, who doesn't play fantasy football, asks Cade Otton or Cameron Brate or Hunter Henry. Personally, I would say Hunter Henry here over the mismatch of Cade Otton or Cameron Brate. Justin.
Yeah, I guess Henry. He's probably going to have the better opportunity. Personally, I think that she should probably quit playing fantasy football if these are her only options at tight end at this point. So,
well,
she went to the Josh Bigby School of tight end training, and that's where we are now.
Well, no. What she's not telling you is she's team league.
Yeah.
And on her bench, because they're all freaking injured or out, is or on bye is Rex Burkhead, Damian Williams, Cam Akers, Traylon Burks, Logan Thomas, and Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
So
you know an awful lot about her team.
We're co-managers of this team. I'm trying to help her out.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Give that wink.
All right, so we got a couple of I'm a T2T fanatics. Thanks, Dustin. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. Bobby Pigskin says DST stash for week 7. Eagles are on a bye. Titans versus Indy, Saints versus Arizona on Thursday night. It's tough to answer this, especially not knowing like Marcus Lattimore, if he's going to be in or out. They're a much worse defense with Marcus Lattimore not on the field. Indy has been awful, but we don't know if Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines are going to be back. Just looking at it, I would probably go Titans versus Indy. Lots of sacks against the statue, Matt Ryan. So even if they score some points, you'll get some points for sacks. So I'm gonna go ahead and just say Titans versus Indy.
I agree.
Yeah, start your defense against Indy. They're not very good. Matt Ryan is a statue back there. He's not moving around at all.
Let's see. Mini Jordan 718, 1 point per PPR. Sorry, I'm reading the next statement and it made me laugh. Choose 2: Dubs, London, Sutton, McKenzie, Pittman. This one's pretty easy. Well, this one's mostly easy for me. I'm gonna start Sutton and Dubs here. Pittman hasn't been getting it done. Sutton's getting volume. McKenzie's interesting, but I don't know if he's 100%. So for me, it's Dubs and Sutton. But let's see if these guys agree with me. Justin, you're the Pittman guy here because you're the Colts guy. Do you disagree? Pittman should Pittman be played here?
Yeah, I'm going to play Pittman here. That was the week that I believe that was one of the weeks that, I believe. Did Pittman play against the Jaguars? I think he was out that week, but
your whole team was off that week.
Yeah, that's fair. That's Dubs definitely is in, and I'm not going to bench Michael Pittman in this matchup. None of the other three really stand out to me as huge high upside guys. I mean, McKenzie maybe because of that. The fact that everybody's going to have to score a touchdown in that game. There's going to be touchdowns scored everywhere. Actually, you know what? I talked myself into it. Shoot. Dubs and Pittman. Final answer.
All right, George.
So I'm starting Sutton here. Like, I don't care how bad Russell Wilson is playing. Sutton has been an absolute stud. He's getting you double-digit points almost every single week. So I'm going to go with Sutton. For the second one, Dubs, London, McKenzie, and Pittman. I'm going Romeo Dubs. I like the matchup against the Jets. I'm expecting him to have a decent game for you. I like Pittman as well, but oof, it's been rough. It's been rough in those Pittman streets as of late. I'm going to go Romeo Dubs.
He's just not getting any. I mean, the whole team's not throwing downfield because that offensive line isn't giving Matt Ryan time to do it. He's just not getting any downfield targets.
Yep.
So Alex Pierce is on average the same amount of targets as Pittman. So it's just tough. Look, Justin looked like he was going to say something. I stopped.
Yeah. So Pittman and Alec Pierce were both out in week 2 against the Jaguars. That's right. That's what I was remembering. So I just wanted to throw that out there. We don't really have that comparison to go by, but it really put a hurting on the entire team, especially when Coach Frank Reich decided, hey, without my top 2 wide receivers, we're still going to throw the ball 40 times and give the ball to Jonathan Taylor only 10 times the entire game. He had 10 touches that game. So that was the game that really set me off. So I feel like if they're going to throw the ball 40 times against the Jaguars again, Pittman's got a good shot.
To be fair, Justin, you guys got down so quickly, it was hard to give Jonathan Taylor any actual touches.
Not really. Not really. We were down by 7 halfway through the first quarter, and they had an entire two straight drives where they still did not give the ball to Jonathan Taylor at all.
So just bad coaching. Got it.
Yes. Horrible.
Mike D says not baptizing his children at a Pearl Jam concert makes me feel like a failure as a parent. Listen, not doing it makes you a Ticketmaster shill. So, Josh Bigby says, I thought Can't Find a Bateman was pretty good. Yeah, I'm with you there. Talking about Pearl Jam again.
Yeah.
We got another T2T fanatic. So Andrew Miller, thank you for entering. We're gonna scrape by all these comments and get them to the coach, so you guys all get entered after we get off the show and go set our lineups. Bobby Trees. Oh, yeah. So this is the Higgins question. He's got Jefferson, Diggs, AJ Brown, and Amon-Ra. Like, I have to believe this is a 5-team league. Maybe a dynasty, but if he has Higgins, Jefferson, Diggs, AJ Brown, or Amon St. Ra, either he went 0 running back and he's starting like Kareem Hunt this week, which is cool, or it's a 5-teams league. Mike D saying he's not Dirty Jobs, which we understand.
No, we don't. I thought that was Dirty Jobs.
Yeah,
that says this Mike D is Dirty Jobs.
Oh, okay. Oh, is it? Well, this Mike D, not the other Mike D. Got it. Sorry. And then I agree, Justin. He thought it was going to be a disadvantage. He's starting 2 kickers this week because he's this is some inside the Scott Fishbowl talk that we can get to. But it's 12-17, and I know Justin's got a couple questions that we can get to. And then hey now, Josh Bigby school tight ends are all starting combinations of Andrews, Hawkinson, Higbee, Conklin, but the correct answer was Otten, which is the one we gave him. So getting over to Justin's question, 0.25 PPR must choose 2 flex: Waddle, Robinson, Gallup, Zeke, Pollard. And this is Justin's question, George. So let's help him out here. Wait, which league is this in?
It's my main home league. You guys aren't in it.
Okay, so I can give you the right answer here.
Yep.
This is
Man,
rough.
this is gross.
Uh,
I'm gonna say oh. I'm gonna double up and just say Gallup and Pollard.
that's initially where I went as well. I do want to diversify a little bit, so I'm gonna go Waddle and Gallup. I'm gonna go.
Wallop is a good one.
Yes, so we're gonna go Waddle and Gallup, even though initially I wanted to go with Gallup and Pollard. I've been telling you to sit Waddle in your leagues, Justin, because I know you got a bunch of them. Diversify your lineup slightly. Give him a chance this week. Maybe he'll get that 1 7-yard catch that he takes 69 yards for a touchdown.
So no Zeke love.
Yeah, like until Zeke shows us anything, I can't have love for Zeke. Just be careful though. Don't I know a lot of people after this week, their impetus is going to be to get rid of him, but he's got a sweet schedule going forward.
Yeah.
So just like hold him back, and then hopefully he gets involved after the bye week. Andrew Miller, and I think this is going to be our last question. Justin, I know you've got more, and if you want to type them up, we can, but it's 12:19, and if we can get out a couple minutes early, if this is our last question,
I'll ask you guys separately after we end the air.
All right, so with this question, we've got one last one, PPR tight end premium. Pick 2, Fant, Tunyon, Gesicki, Davis, Shakir, and Parker in the flex.
I'm going Shakir and Parker.
Is this Gabe Davis?
Gabe Davis. If it's Gabe Davis, I'm going Shakir and Gabe Davis.
I don't know. Is it Corey Davis?
Either way, you know what?
Honestly,
I think I would.
Yeah,
I would start Corey Davis. Yeah, I would go Davis and Shakir.
Yeah, I don't care which Davis it is. I'm going to go Davis and Shakir here. Although, if talking about wanting to diversify, no, he says it is Corey Davis. So, but still, Corey Davis, because I don't like any of your tight ends enough to worry about the little bit of a premium you get here. So, Corey Davis and Shakir for the three of us, Andrew. And guys, with that, that's going to close us out for this week 6. Like I said, when I was here by myself after George left me and Justin wasn't on yet. Oh, go ahead, George. Sorry.
So there's a report from Jay Glazer that came out. I just want to touch on this real quick. The Rams are actively trying to trade Cam Akers, and it's unlikely that he'll ever play for the Raider or the Rams ever again. Even if they can't trade him, the belief is he's played his last snap for them. So while he's out for personal reasons this week, they're not expecting him to play again in LA for the Rams. So I believe Kyron Williams was their rookie that they drafted. So he'll become the backup to Darrell Henderson. So if you're in, semi-deep leagues, check your waiver wire for Kyron Williams. He may be a nice little stash for you to get some playing time this year.
All right, and guys, with that, we got one more comment. I'm saying I'm going to take all these questions, even if we're trying to close it out. We've got 2 more that just rolled in, but we're a team that likes to answer all the questions. So Higgins or Juju?
Higgins for me.
I'm going to say Higgins and just hold my breath and hope they play. Also, George, as Josh mentioned, they re-signed Malcolm Brown. He knows that system. So he's not a big upside guy there in Los Angeles, but he's at least a guy that would keep Kyron Williams off the field a little bit. So back to this, Higgins for 2 of us. George, you going Juju or Higgins okay with you?
I would go Juju. It's really close. I would go T. Higgins here.
Okay. And then finally, Jim 896 PPR, pick 2, Kirk, Higbee, DJ Moore, Tyler Boyd.
I'm going to go
DJ Moore and Kirk for me.
I'm going to go Higbee and Higbee and Kirk. Higbee's been playing absolutely fantastic in PPR leagues. Like he has been getting everything you wished Allen Robinson has been getting, and then some. I'm going Higbee, and I'm going to go Christian Kirk.
And I am going to screw this all up by saying Higbee, so that's 2 for Higbee, and then I'm going to say Moore, and that's 2 for Moore. So 2 for Higbee, 2 for Moore. Sorry, Mr. Kirk. Let's see. George threw in Domino's or Pizza Hut. It's 100% Pizza Hut until Domino's gets some form of stuffed crust pizza.
Yeah, that's fair because I don't really care for either of them, but that stuffed crust pizza is really good.
Yep. And then ninjas or samurais. Give me ninjas because they're shady as shit. And that's our third one, non-football related.
I'm going samurais, dude. They have a code. They have honor. You know, give me the samurai.
All right.
So what's the biggest differences between a ninja and a samurai?
Well, samurais are good guys. Ninjas are they're not necessarily bad guys, but they don't have the same like honor code that samurais have.
Correct.
So
like samurai,
I thought maybe it was a difference in weaponry more than anything. The samurais just always have that badass sword.
I think they all have. Well, so ninjas have stars and stuff, but like I think they can also use the katana blade.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think ninjas are more versatile on the weapon end. So
what you're saying. Well, so like the Ninja Turtles can use all 4 of those weapons, whereas like the samurai only gets Leonardo's weapon.
You throw in the Ninja Turtles, then it's totally lopsided. 100% of everybody would start the ninja, no matter which one, even if it's Ralph.
It's true. Your wife says Joe Burrow or Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes, Lori.
Also not football related. So.
Oh, okay. I mean, in that case, I have to be Joe Burrow because I couldn't listen to Kermit all day.
The correct answer is not given here. We all know
Jimmy Garoppolo.
It's Zach Wilson.
No, I guess Lori is a mom. I guess you're right, but no, it's got to be Jimmy Garoppolo if you're going by quarterbacks, not football related.
So here's the thing, though. She's trying to get into football just a little bit, like just enough to have a team to root for. Yeah. And she's basing this off of how they look in football pants. So, I mean, I know her. I know her well enough. And here's the thing. Like, she wants to talk about how Joe Burrow looks like he's 12, but then talks about how cute he looks. So I'm really concerned about that. So my vote here is Pat Mahomes.
Listen, I couldn't spend a day with Kermit. I just couldn't do it. Like, I just couldn't get past that voice all day. Anyway,
either way, Lori, if you get the opportunity for either of them with that kind of money, you know what? I'll take alimony checks.
I was going to say Pat Mahomes. Jason can't get over the fact that Pat Mahomes sounds like Kermit, but Pat Mahomes has 500 million reasons to give you the ability to get over the fact that he sounds like Kermit.
Look, I don't need 500 million. Joe Burrow's got plenty of cash. And then Uncle Steve says gross. So. All right, guys. That was a little fun at the end here.
We've definitely hit the bottom of the toilet with this discussion.
We totally did. And that's going to end it. Like we talk about, we have so many shows on the channel. We have the No Name show on Tuesday night. If you're a Patreon, we have a Patreon show Monday night for waivers where you get waiver updates right after the Monday night game is over. Join the Patreon show. We also have plenty of great articles. If you go to toiletsales.com, like and subscribe us here on YouTube. We've got Discord. We've got Facebook. Apparently, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook, When the Family Breaks, Podbean, and Spotify. I like Justin's reaction to that. Apparently, and there's shows. There's DFS shows. There's regular, just like talking NFL shows. There's start shit shows like we have on Sundays. And that's our 4th one. And that's all I've got because I'm not going to be able to finish this if I don't. Thank you all for listening. And we hope to win you your week and see you again here next Sunday.